So now we're going to go into arrays. Arrays are very scary for some students because it is a very different concept. But let me give you an example that'll kind of help you with that. So if you look at page 271, it'll show you how to declare an array and how to kind of visualize an array. Because an array is kind of like, when you think of it, like a bucket, okay? So remember how we talked about variables last week, how it was you would have like a bucket, right? And so you'd name that bucket, I don't know, name, and then you would put a name in that bucket. Well, you can think of an array as like a train that has multiple train cars, and in each of those train cars, there's a value in it. So think of it like a bucket, right? And so in our instances that we're going to do, each of those train cars have the same type. So if my array is a string, then every single value, every single bucket that's on that, you can say train, basically is a string and has to be a string. That's very, very important. And they're ordered, and they start by 0 and they end at however many is created, okay? And we are doing just a very simple single dimensional array. They get very complex in this class. We do not get that complex, okay? So what I want to do is I want to do an example for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array, and I'm going to kind of show you how it works, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an application real quick where when the user hits the display button, it's going to display through the array. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an array, and you can see again how to declare an array on page 271, okay? And what I'm going to do is I am going to declare an array of a type. If you look at page 272, that's the kind of the example I'm going to do. I'm going to modify it a little bit, but I'm going to store names of teams. So if I'm storing names of football teams, can someone tell me what type of array I'm going to have? What is my array going to be? Perfect. Perfect, Jeremy. Okay, so everything on my array is going to be a string, every single place, all right? So now I'm pointing to my screen like you can see my hand, but you can't. Team name is my array. Every time I refer to my array, I'm referring it to as team name. The system knows that it's an array. Why? How does it know it's an array? By those parentheses. Those parentheses mean this is an array. So this is going to contain multiple entries, right? It's not just one single variable like we were working on last week. Does everybody understand that? These are not in order of what I like or anything like that. Oh, I'm a gator. I'm sorry. Notice most of these are SEC teams. I was born and raised in Gainesville, Florida, and then I went to school there after I moved away. Yeah, so anyways, and now I'm a Liberty faculty. I mean, you can't beat it, right? So I got the best of both worlds. Okay, so it's telling me that I did something wrong. It's because I used a parenthesis instead of that bracket. So you are not going to do this, okay, in your assignment. In your assignment, you are actually going to load it in from a file, but I need to show you how an array works before we can get there, okay? So I don't want anybody to kind of freak out on that, okay? All right. And the one bad thing is that if you're watching this recording, if it actually works, you can't see the chat. So I'm going to try to make sure that you guys, if I repeat things, and everybody's telling me that I'm not perfect because I'm a Gator fan. All right. Okay, so I'm not a fan, I'm an alumni. Anyways, all right, so let me explain real quick how this works. Packers is in the placeholder 0. So if I want to display to this list box right here, Packer, the placeholder 0, if I want to do list box dot items, come on, dot add, and then I want to do team name, which is my array, and I want to do placeholder 0. Okay, so what that's going to do when I run it, it's going to, if it works, I don't know if it's going to run. Watch it not run. No, it's going to run because it loves me. Dear Jesus, please. I'm sure me running the recording and WebEx and Parallels, my computer is like thinking that I'm trying to kill it slowly. I think I can. I'm gonna try to delete this. It's doing something, right? That's better than it was doing. Okay, so when I display the team, notice that I get Packers, all right? So I need you guys to understand this because this is critical right here. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, okay? But there's actually 8 entries in the team name, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? It starts with 0, all right? So if I did placeholder 3, what's my response going to be? What's it going to come back with? Yeah, probably should come back with Liberty Flames, huh? Okay, all right, perfect. So let me show you how this works now. All right, so what I can do, which is kind of a cool thing, if I want to run through them all, oh, okay. All right, so I want you to look at this. I is your counter. We did this last. I is your counter. We did this last week. So it's starting at 0. Why are we starting at 0? Because our array starts at 0. And I'm going to team count -1. Now, why am I doing that? Because my count, remember, in this is 8. But I only want to go to 7, right? Because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's where you have Auburn at 7. So this is going to go from 0 to 7. I'm going to display the team name, and I'm going to get my count. Okay? All right. So I can print out my count. Let me just do this first. All right. Okay, so notice that it displays all of them. All right, Packers, Florida Gators, all of them. And then it gives me the message box for the 8. So this is going to be used in your assignment this week. Remember when I said you have to do the count for the list box, and you have to keep track of the count of the list box in that text field. Well, if you notice what I did right here, I notice it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Has nothing to do with the array. Has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with what is displayed in the list box at that current time. And that concept is this right here. This items.count. So every time you refresh your list box with the text file, so every time you add, every time you remove, every time you display in the load, every time you clear, every time you're going to add this statement right here. And you're going to set it equal to the text box.text. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? I'm trying to show you one of the concepts of your assignment. Okay. All right. Don't forget that, because that's going to be a question that a lot of students are going to email me on. But remember, it's right now I'm just putting it to a message box, but if I had a text box right here, I would just set this value equal to that text box property. All right. And you guys know how to do that because you did that all last week. Okay. So does anybody have any questions on arrays and how it's done? Because the next thing is I'm going to actually do I'm going to bring in a text file into an array, because we're not going to enter all the names. We're going to actually have a text file of the names. All right, so there's no questions, so let me stop this video.